I've said before, I like to learn about humanity to see where they're at on that, like their spiritual growth and their evolution and everything like that, because they're one of the newest creatures, one of the newest creations in the universe. And so I'm doing what it says in my soul contract, and I am playing the role of a human. I incarnate in a human body. I'm doing it pretty well, don't you think? I pass as a human, yes. To try to collect as much human information, human lived experiences for the greater good. Act as source, creator, universe, God's eyes and ears here on earth to help end human suffering so that the humans can heal and that they can go to heaven or leave this planet and travel the stars and be with, all of the other creations, all of God's other creations on all of the other planets, humans' ancestors. And the thing is God created many different kinds of beings, okay? Like when my soul is not in a human body, my soul actually looks like a dark fae. Some do have appearances that humans would consider to be scary or whatever. That's why every time the angels from the heavens, the angels from the stars, the aliens, the extraterrestrials, every time they come to Earth, they say, "Do not fear." Because there have been instances throughout human history where humans have seen them in their regular form and they can't handle it. Their mind breaks and they go insane and either hurt themselves or others. That's why usually angels come in human form. And there are a lot of humans talking about reptilians or lizard people right now. And the thing is they're talking poorly about them because they don't understand the evolution of all of the creatures throughout all of the universe. One of the first incarnations into material form for the masculine energy were dragons. And so the humanoids that you are seeing that look like lizard people, they're the descendants of dragons. And dragons are incredibly intelligent. They're one of the ancients. They're one of the first created. They have so much knowledge, and they know that if they hurt others, it will end up hurting them in some way or another. And so they do their utmost not to cause violence. Like, they only harm to protect themselves and others, and they will try their very best not to get to that point. But they are incredibly, incredibly intelligent and kind and very funny. But the thing is throughout all of creation's evolution, God learning, the very first incarnations of masculine energy were rageful, vengeful. They wanted to conquer and dominate, and they did. Remember, they are ancient, and so that was a very, very, very long time ago. They now live together in peace and harmony, and most of the women actually control the society. But there are a few, like a handful, that don't want to live in their peaceful society, and so they live by themselves, but they don't bother anybody else. So all of these stories that you hear about reptilians trying to control the humans, that's not true. They don't give a flying F about the humans. Like the humans are nothing to them. They don't care. They don't care to hurt them, and they don't care to help them. But the rest of the dragons, the rest of the Dracos, the rest of the lizard people, the rest of the reptilians love humans because they are our ancestors. We are their descendants. But yeah, there are a handful that are kind of assholes, but they stay to themselves. But this is why ancient scripture tells us that we're not supposed to judge by physical appearances, that we're supposed to judge somebody by the way they treat others. Because the thing is humans can't leave this planet and go to other planets if they still judge by physical appearance. Because what if they get to another planet and there's another species that they think looks sinister or evil or demonic or satanic, and then they want to hurt them? That's not something that's acceptable. That's why the humans have been kept off to the side by themselves in an enclosed system so that they can't hurt the rest of the universe. So humans will not be able to leave this planet and travel the galaxy and travel the universe with their ancestors in heaven until they can learn to not judge by physical appearance. It's very simple. And so with humans being the universe, God's newest creations, they are stuck here until they learn to not judge by a physical appearance and learn how to control their mind, body, and soul and spirit and emotions so that they don't want to be violent to other people. So that when they meet other creatures, they don't go into a fight, flight, or freeze kind of state where they either want to fight the entity or freeze in place and not move at all or run away, okay? Because other creatures' energy, they're older than us, they're ancients, and so their energy is so intense because they've been back to source, they've been back to God, they've rose to awareness on their spiritual journey many times and have been back to God. And so the energy that they have is intense. It's so intense. So you know how if one human has really good energy, they can make other humans feel better and make them feel happier, or if one human has negative energy and they're angry and upset, they can also make other humans feel upset and angry, disrupt their peace, disrupt the balance, kill the vibes or whatever. Like one human's energy can affect the energy of everybody in the room, and it can become like a mob kind of mentality, a mob energy where everybody feels the same, right? Well, that's because humans have a field, an energy field, just like the Earth does, and it's about 6 feet. So, like when pandemics happen and they tell us to stay 6 feet apart, it's because of that. You see, I mean, obviously to keep it from going airborne easier, but also we have to protect our own energy field. Humans are literally here to learn how to control their body and control their own energy and control the energy of nature around them so that they can manipulate it to help others, help for the greater good. That's what they're here for. That's their spiritual, like it's a boarding school for your soul. Okay, so then that's what you're here to learn. You're here to learn how to manipulate energy for the greater good and help end human suffering. Okay, so like knowing where you're from, knowing where you came from, how you were created and why you were created, and that we all come from intense love where there is no suffering or pain. And so we incarnate into these lifetimes to learn about suffering and pain, to help God with, the knowledge, because God is all knowledge. Ta-da! Like, it's very simple and very easy to learn. But colonization, they hurt a lot of the spiritual leaders, and then the Vatican lied. Like, but yeah, reptilians exist. And look, all of the creatures who are here creatures, aliens, extraterrestrials, angels, okay, that are here on this earth right now aren't here to hurt the humans. They've actually been helping them. The human, like the reason that there's so many problems in this world is not because of the angels or the extraterrestrials or the aliens. It's because we have their DNA. And so the humans have to learn to control those traits, those lesser evolved traits, that's like caveman traits. Me beat you, me, like you, my woman, me take you, be violent, selfish, ego, um, just vain, greedy. Like humans have to learn to control those traits because they are so newly created and they're still learning. Like it's a learning process, and they're evolving. So. But anyways, when you know where you're from and why you're here, life is a lot easier, because then you take the knowledge of all of the things that you've gone through and you use that to help others. So you don't have to sit in depression and anxiety because you know that you're never alone. You're surrounded by your ancestors. Like Mother Nature's got you while you're doing this material realm. Like and the kings in the Vatican wanted to control and conquer and steal resources and control all of the resources. So they went around killing the elders and spiritual leaders of the tribe, the humans who were born into this world with the knowledge of universe and creation. Just knew it as soon as they were born, came out spouting all this stuff. Hi, how are you? We're called star children, or there's many terms for us. And then after the Vatican did all of the crusading and unaliving the humans who weren't Christian and unaliving the spiritual leaders of all of the tribes who held all of the knowledge, they divided the humans and labeled them. And they said, well, because you have a uterus, you're a woman and you must make babies. And like they told the humans how they were supposed to live. They lied to them. And anybody who opposed them, they unalived. Vatican has been controlling society by lying to society about what the Bible actually says to hide human history, to hide the fact or the truth from the humans of where they really come from. But the thing is if you can understand ancient poetry, then you should be able to understand the scripture. And it's all of this information is in the scriptures. I mean, not everything that I just said, but like it's basically what the Bible is trying to explain to you. Also, you're not supposed to read the Bible cover to cover. You're supposed to read the books and compare and contrast, because each book represents a different person's perspective of Christ and their like relationship with Christ. And you will see that there are discrepancies, okay, because each author wanted you to specifically focus on one detail, okay, and that's why eyewitness news or eyewitness testimony isn't always reliable, because one human might focus, like, okay, two humans can experience the same event, but process that event in completely different ways, okay? So say they witness a car accident, and one human focuses specifically on the visual aspects of the car accident, and the other person focuses on they close their eyes, because they get scared, and they hear it, right? So say the human who focused on what it looked like can say that it was two white cars that got into an accident, whereas the other human who closed their eyes says, well, it was a silver car and a white car that got into an accident. And that's why no one can actually judge. Only God can judge, because we all perceive our experiences differently based on our upbringing, what we learned as a child, what we were taught as a child, our experiences, our lived experiences. We all process everything differently. And like, that's the whole point of all of it. Like, I hope this helps somebody. But yes, reptilians or lizard people do exist, but they're not here to hurt the humans. They're here to help the humans. The only entities that you have to worry about are the humans who want to keep control. Okay. If you go and learn about the story of Athena's adopted son, Erechthonius, you'll understand more about what I'm trying to explain. I do another video on it. I love talking about this stuff because humans need to know. It's their birthright. Like, you're here to rise to awareness again. Remember who your soul is and why you're here, what your soul's purpose is, That's what brings you happiness, joy, and peace. And you can actually live longer, too. It can make you healthier and live longer. Like, humans are immortal, but the ones in control kept telling everybody that they're going to eventually die, or that they're sick and they can't be healed. And so they start to believe it, and then it gets encoded into their DNA. But like, that's why the whole story of Christ dying, when the... Anyway.